morning, Matt.
Good morning, Will.
Good morning to all of you.
Welcome to Games for Breakfast, the only internet talk show. We talk about this week's gaming and tech news, but that also we are never late. We arrive precisely for breakfast when we mean to. And I mean that because we are going live technically by the clock an hour earlier than we usually do. But as Will has just instructed me, it's actually not an hour earlier. It's actually the same hour we usually would, except for all of the daylight savings time shenanigans that have to go on to make nothing work as smooth as it should.
Right. So there's three cases here, right? If you knew that we were going live early and that the time had changed, you're good. If you didn't know that we were going live early and you didn't know the time had changed, you're still good. It's only if you know one or the other, but not both of those facts, you're not good. And you're watching this on the VOD later instead of live when you could have, if you knew both or neither of those things.
Yeah, knowledge is a curse.
It is.
And we plan to curse you so hard today with all of the gaming news that we have for you.
That's correct.
If you came here, you thought spooky season was over. Oh no, now it's the season of curses, which are inherently spooky and more hardcore. Will, how was your All Hallows Eve?
It was very calm. It was very chill. I live in a place where we don't get trick-or-treaters, so I got to stay home and everything was business as usual.
Nice.
Yeah. Although I did, it was kind of funny. Some people were dressed up when I went to play Magic yesterday, and I tried to play. I was playing against an opponent who had attempted to play Commander, so shuffling a 100-card deck with plastic fake witch fingers on. That lasted about 30 minutes, but I was very, very impressed that he managed to take a mulligan and draw 7 twice with long plastic fake witch fingers with the nails on it. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah. You know, they're consummate professionals. People
exactly,
who go and do technical events on Halloween.
Yeah, that's right.
I just went to the Nebula Karaoke, and it was quite fun.
That sounds excellent.
A lot of K-pop Demon Hunters.
It's heavily in everyone's mind, right? Like, especially because of the sing-alongs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did Idol.
Okay.
It was a solid, I don't know, 7 out of 10. Not my best, but the first time. I don't know how many people in the audience actually do karaoke. Oh no, I just spilled coffee all over the place. No! Will, vamp.
Okay, great. I have a feeling that Matt's going to talk about if you've ever gone to karaoke. So you should tell me if you've ever gone to karaoke so that I can tell Matt how many of you have been to karaoke when Matt gets back from getting the thing. Okay, great. Excellent.
You still have to vamp, though, because now I'm doing surgery.
Did you spill it on your keyboard?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Everything's fine.
Okay, great. Excellent. I love this. Some people were more into the K-pop Demon Hunters sing-along were parents than kids. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's definitely a movie that some parents took their kids to because the kid had watched it once and the parents are like, no, we should go. It'll be fun. And then the parents are like super into it and the kids are like, Mom, you're embarrassing me in public. Right? Like that. Just like that, by the way. 100%.
Yeah, that's like take away kids and put in partners, and that's how I am with Jamie.
Yeah. No. Wrong vamp, Dane. Wrong. No.
Actually,
wrong.
no. Dane, I mean...
No. I thought we said we weren't talking about that on the
sunlight
show.
Right now. This stuff behind us, that's animated.
Just because I am bioluminescently pale and you can't prove that I've ever seen the light of the day star does not mean I'm a vampire. It's fine.
It also doesn't guarantee that you're not a vampire.
That's true. No, yeah, like Miguel says, go with my mom, but she's the only one singing. Yes, exactly, right? No, and to Matt's choice, Idol, excellent choice, right? Because it is. So Golden is only a good song because it fits in with the plot of the movie.
Disagree, but that's not what this show's about. Continue your
right. But Idol stands alone, I would say, much better than Golden does.
Yeah, people did Golden, How It's Done, or Done, Soda Pop, and Idol. There was a lot of musical theater kids there, though, so it actually people did better. With those
you said
songs
wait, back up. You said it was the Nebula party, right? So you're repeating yourself. Okay,
yeah,
it's fine.
Fair,
no,
fair.
The Nebula crew is nothing if not a bunch of highly educated theater kids who are like, I miss theater. Maybe I'll do performance art, and then
I'll give a shout out.
videos.
I'll give a shout out to who I think is the MVP of the night. I'm not sure if anyone in chat is familiar with a wonderful gentleman by the name of Thomas Frank. He's a productivity creator. He works with Norton a lot. Also, the dude's the nicest guy. He's like literally like the Superman or Clark Kent of that group, and he just slayed every possible thing. There was one year where he and I did a duet of the My Chemical Romance song, the na 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 or whatever, the 8 nas, which was very, very fun. Anyway, we're getting off topic. I'm so sorry. Also, Shades, with all this karaoke. Oh, sorry, Will. I just
no, it's fine.
Yeah, you got to go more. It's super fun. Sorry, Will. Hit that
no,
back up.
It's fine. I was Thunder correctly pointed out that that's not the reason I'm a vampire. It's all the other things, like my desire to wear grunge, my avoidance of holy symbols, my fear of authority figures, the fact I don't cast reflections in mirrors. Listen, I thought we weren't going to talk about any of those things on stream, Thunder. It's fine.
It's okay because it's on the VOD.
Yeah. So as you may have noticed, this one's early. We're a little. I don't know that we're more punchy than normal, but we're definitely a little off our rhythm, so that's okay.
Yeah.
Also, brief programming announcement before I let Matt get started. There is no design club this week. Jeff is traveling, so look forward. The next thing that'll be here on YouTube will be the next breakfast next week.
Well, actually, that's technically not true because from live stuff, absolutely.
From live stuff, yes, but there is.
But we are getting back on schedule with our animated monthly episodes. And the reason why we released the first one on the collapse of the board game industry, or the status of it, at least at this time, and then it was, I believe, almost 2 months till the next one about James's how to design your own game from scratch. That was because there was a push. We had to move stuff around because of the Cyberpunk Legends Kickstarter, and now we're getting back on course. I believe it's been 3 weeks. Or maybe 4. I'm trying to remember how it works, but basically we are slowly sliding ourselves back into the first week of the first Saturday of the month. There'll be an animated extra credits episode. We have a bunch lined up. We're getting it. So like this one's going to hit on this Saturday, and then it's going to be a month every time. This one coming up is on, we're basically soft calling it the Road to Night Rain. And we're positing why, what the secret sauce of that game actually was, and it's not what anyone else is talking about. And that one's written by our lovely friend of the channel Jasmine, that bronze girl Bular. And it's dope. So that will be out on Saturday, and then the next breakfast will hit.
Excellent.
So there'll be plenty of things to watch.
Right. Matt, could you provide sound effects as I bring up our first image for our first story?
Sound effects. Oh yeah, I got you.
You know what this sounds like, and I don't, because I don't play this game.
Oh, I don't have that, but I have this.
I mean, that's fair. That might as well be the sound when you get busted. So our first story this week is, as you may have seen in the title or thumbnail, we're going to talk a little bit about Rockstar. And Rockstar has been much in the news lately for, the lead up to GTA 6. And this week they're in the news for slightly less stellar reasons, which is that no one's disputing the following, that about 30 employees, between 30 and 40 employees were fired from Rockstar on October 30th. No one's disputing that. Everyone agrees on that. The interesting thing is why they were fired. So IWGB, the union that was in talks with a large number of these members to form a union at Rockstar, alleges that Rockstar specifically fired these employees as a union busting tactic. And Rockstar claims that they were fired for... Hold on. Gross misconduct. 30 people all fired for gross misconduct at the same time.
Yeah, this story comes to us from PC Gamer. It's interesting. Rockstar has not had the best track record in this field, and it's So right now, the reason why we kind of wanted to bring this up is not because we have definitive evidence of anything. It is because it is a constant discussion in the industry about things like this sort of happening. Now, I think it is good that even if it comes out that this is incorrect, I still think it is good to call out potential times where this is happening, because you need to know. Everyone needs to still be like aware and able to try to parse this stuff when it happens. What do you got, Will?
And I think it's really important because I'm gonna read the so Rockstar is one of the 3 branches. It's like 3.5 branches of Take-Two, which is a holding company which covers 2K, Rockstar, and one more that I've forgotten. I looked at
Zynga.
Zynga, yes, that's right, the one that no one cares about anymore. Right, okay, that's why I couldn't remember it. Your crops in your farm are withering.
They are rotted.
They are rotting in the fields. Go tend your digital crops instead of actually touching real grass. Anyway, the Take-Two statement is as follows. We strive to make the world's best entertainment properties by giving our best-in-class creative teams positive work environments and ongoing career opportunities. Our culture is focused on teamwork, excellence, and kindness. Rockstar Games terminated a small number of individuals for gross misconduct and for no other reason. As always, we fully support Rockstar's ambitions and approach.
Right, so nothing about unions.
Right, but that
so
statement...
nothing to see here. Go home.
Right, yeah, that statement is like... I think the only thing that's not, like, corporate doublespeak there is the statement Rockstar Games terminated a small number of individuals for gross misconduct. You could have ended that there, but when you add, and for no other reason, I immediately think of all the other reasons that Rockstar might fire about 30 people who were all busy organizing to form a union.
I have 2 thoughts. One, this is how statements like this from companies always come out, which means they work for what they're trying to do. Like, we're looking at it, we're talking about it longer than the statement probably was ever wanted to be talked about, right? Like, we're finding the clues in the turd sandwich that we've just been handed. We're autopsying the turd sandwich.
Right, yeah. Like,
but then there's also a different side. You know me, I like to play for at least 20 seconds before I get mad again, the corpo devil's advocate, because that's where the devils live. And like, there are laws, and I'm not specifically up on the UK's laws in this particular regard, but there are laws saying why companies sometimes cannot say publicly why they fired a person. This is supposed to be for the person's benefit, but I can see in this sort of case, it's actually working out well for the company. Right. And it also says that these people were removed for gross misconduct. And Will and I got into an interesting discussion about this while we were prepping for the show this morning. And basically, that could mean that these 30 people were talking on like an outside server Discord or something like that. This is all, again, we're just making it up. This is just, we're positing what could happen. And there could be a rule in Rockstar's in your employment contract that says you have to only use internal communication software to communicate about Rockstar business or company business. And then Will did bring up the following point, which is very interesting as well.
Union business is never company business. It's always wholly distinct from the nature, from the work of the company, right? The union doesn't care about the company's like overall goals or its trade secrets or any of that. The union's business is in making sure the workers are treated fairly and equitably, right? So like, I would almost say that it could be the opposite, that they were discussing union stuff using company resources and that's why they got fired.
But that would be, but like, for instance, it's interesting. And again, I don't know the exact protections here and there, but if they're doing it in company channels, if they're doing it in company channels, then there's a full company paper trail, digital trail that would get the company in more trouble, where if it's off site, what they can do is sort of what this statement says, which is like, oh, say that they, even though, Will, I 1000% agree with you that discussing union business is not company business, because not everyone agrees with that definition. And even if it legally doesn't include that, you can do the bullshit dance maneuver of like making it sort of feel that way, and then it's just sort of a public opinion like play.
And of course, and let's be very clear, this isn't going to hurt Rockstar at all.
Oh no.
Right? Because like everyone who was going to buy GTA 6 is still going to buy GTA 6. 2026 will be defined as a release year for games by the presence of Grand Theft Auto 6 and people trying to get out of its way enough to have their game, which exists in a relatively similar space, succeed at all. When the majority of gamers buy one or less games a year, so many people's one game a year this year will be GTA 6. In fact, I would say that will be the majority of that majority. That's my guess, would be the majority of those people who only buy one game a year will only buy Grand Theft Auto 6 this year, because it will be the only game that they need if GTA 5 is any indication, right? And I don't think this moves the needle on that at all, unfortunately, right? But we should be keeping up with unions in the industry, because I think the main reason that we bring this up, and one of the reasons why I like talking about it, is I want the whole industry to have as many unions as the film industry does.
Yeah.
I want there to be locals. I want there to be like a big overarching thing. I would love if like video game writers were in the same position as like the Writers Guild of America was when they shut down late night TV for like 6 months. Longer? I don't even remember how long the writer's strike was. Like, I would love the industry to have unions be that powerful and to take care of these workers, because there have been so many cases where games have come out and people have said, hey, we're sorry it's not great, but like Danny keeled over at his desk from exhaustion and he was the only guy who could fix the combat engine and he's in the hospital from exhaustion, right? Like, I'm being hyperbolic, but like that level of like overwork has become so ubiquitous, and I would really like there to be unions to counterbalance that. Obviously, there's always going to be some amount of like, hey, we have to hit this deadline, and that's an important thing, but the ways and the means that people go through to hit those deadlines is what I would like to see more pushback against. I'd like there to be a countervailing force against that general trend.
And what I'd also like is sort of like, and again, reason why this is sort of a very recent story and hopefully one that doesn't go away, and I'm glad that PC Gamer's talking about it. It allows us to talk about it. I want things like this to continue in the conversation as GTA 6 does ramp up, because listen, like this game and the amount of people that work on it, like not everyone at Rockstar is evil. Like I want accountability in the places where it should be, and that does mean continuing to discuss it, but like it also, because this is a juggernaut, this probably will get run over, and I'm happy that PC Gamer is talking about it. We'll see how this actually moves forward, and if the IWGB can do anything with this to move it forward and keep it in not only the public eye but do something in a legal space. How this would probably play out is essentially, because they have more money than God, some sort of settlement if it goes that far, right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
But we'll see.
We shall indeed.
I'm still picking coffee out of my keyboard.
Oh, I'm aware you're going to be doing that for most of this episode, and that's okay. I got this. But at either rate, by the way,
better.
we wish nothing but the best for the nascent union at Rockstar, and we hope that in spite of this, there is a union at Rockstar, because that would be cool.
Yeah.
I just think that would be nifty if after this story they were like, surprise, we voted to unionize anyway, go heck yourself.
I mean, that's the other thing too. You hope that talking about stories like this wide enough and loud enough get more people that are there interested in it. It's the Streisand effect, right? Like that's what you want to happen.
Yep.
You want to turn a frown upside down. So yeah, good luck to all of those affected, and hopefully that continues on and it gets stronger because of this bad thing.
Yeah. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about something kind of weird. So, Runescape.
Yeah, well, I read this story.
Yeah.
I read the whole story. I need you, as someone who is I don't speak RuneScape.
Okay.
I need you to tell me, can you tell me the version of this in based around a game that I would understand. I know that's a lot.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, so you played World of Warcraft. Did you play in the Sparkle Pony era of World of Warcraft?
Remind me what that is.
Sparkle Ponies are the premium cash shop mounts that are big and flashy and run around and like you can only buy them from cash.
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool. Great.
Yeah.
So RuneScape recently ran an experiment where they had groups of players participate in a couple of different experiments. One of them was removing it's not really pay to progress, but like catch up or boost mechanics, kind of like an XP booster mechanic. They removed that for some number of players. And then they took a sentiment survey. One of the other ones was that they had servers that had all cosmetic items disabled. So you couldn't Sparkle Pony. Everyone looked like, because it's kind of funny. I don't know about you. In 14, right, one of my earliest clips of 14 is me standing in the middle of an idyllic forest. Like, you know, it's got like wooden, it's got like a blacksmith and like wooden houses and like maybe there's a mage or two. And then someone walks out in front of me, gets in the regalia from Final Fantasy 15 and takes off. Like flies away. Like there's a flying car in the middle of my idyllic fantasy forest, right? And that's a thing that isn't some people's jam. Some people don't mind. Some people think it's cool. Some people don't like it. So they did a whole world that didn't have access to those cosmetics. And again, they took a sentiment survey. And they did this with a couple of other. They did one with double XP with limited microtransaction items. They did one that was a cosmetic drop, and then they took sentiment surveys on all of this. And you can read their report on what all of it is. I'm not going to go through all of the details, but essentially they did a bunch of single variable studies with their community on just turning this off, turning this part of microtransactions off, make the game better. Just turning this part of microtransactions off, make the game better. Does doing this part or this part make the game a better experience for our player base? And the answer overall is that for the most part, players seem to enjoy the experience without microtransactions more.
Yeah.
Shocking everyone here. I know.
It's interesting when stuff like this comes up and it's like, and this isn't always the case in these studies, but it is interesting when you're like, yeah, the thing I thought initially before you did this in-depth research is also correct.
Yep. And they addressed some of the, so not in every case, all the feedback wasn't positive. People, for instance, Treasure Hunter is it's a skill where you get some progress for free, but you get more progress by making microtransactions is the short version. We don't need to go too deep into what it does for RuneScape. And some people had feedback on how they viewed the removal of Treasure Hunter negatively. And they addressed that and they said, yeah, we understand that like feeling like, it's a disadvantage to people who are more casual or who don't have a lot of time to play, but who don't mind spending money on the game. That lets them feel like they have a chance at catching up at people who do have more time to play the game, who like work from home and have RuneScape up on another monitor and they're just AFK farming, right?
Sure.
It lets those people feel like they have a way to catch up. And so they're addressing those pieces of feedback. But all of this culminates in kind of a fascinating idea. Which is that they've
this is the part I understood.
They've introduced a button, and the button is kind of fantastic. So, if 100,000 RuneScape players press the button, they will remove the Treasure Hunter skill from the game. There's no vote against. It's really designed to succeed. There's an IGN article that it talks a little bit more about it, but it is a fascinating idea that it's sort of rigged to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And they are currently over the 100,000 vote mark. The vote will end on November 12th. So the vote is currently at 119,186 yes votes. There is no way to vote no.
Joey agrees.
So this is kind of a big deal, and I want to bring this up because I think it's not clear because RuneScape flies under the radar so often. There are 3 big MMOs in the world. There were 3 MMOs that are still kind of on top of the heap when it comes to looking at all MMOs as a whole, right? There are 3 that you really want to keep in mind. Yes. WoW, Final Fantasy XIV, and RuneScape. It's still a huge deal. It's not a flashy big deal, but it is still very much a big deal. It's still a game that a lot of people play for nostalgia, or a lot of people play for, in some of the new ways that they've developed to play RuneScape with like faster seasons or like Iron Man modes or whatever. It's still super relevant. It just doesn't get flashy, right? Because it doesn't have like as many like world first races or like big patch announcements or whatever, right? It's still a thing.
Yeah.
And the idea that one of the big 3 would give to players the idea that if 100,000 of you, a paltry number of gamers, by the way, that is like no gamers, like we probably got more people to vote for Bodie McBoatface than 100,000, right? Like I get 100,000 people to do a lot of things on the internet if it's funny, right? But 100,000 RuneScape players voting yes to remove a microtransaction skill from a game is super easy, right? So the fact that they're doing this is a fascinating look at the way that they are approaching microtransactions, and might be a sign that they think that the way that they approach funding MMOs is changing, right? Which would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like this a lot. I'm curious. I mean, obviously, these features, again, I don't play RuneScape, so correct me when I am wrong. A feature like the way you can level up with Treasure Hunter, basically paying to win, is essentially like a catch-up mechanic or a speed-up mechanic, right? Like the way that the game itself would say it is like, I believe in one of the articles, it was, and I loved this term, for time-poor players.
Yeah.
And that lets you sort of keep up with the Joneses in a way and still be able to play with you. And like, look, there's definitely some value to that.
Right.
But
in fact, has Jeff told you the story about the first time he investigated someone doing real money transactions on not RuneScape, on EverQuest?
No. Oh, no, he did.
Right. Yeah. They saw someone selling an EverQuest sword on eBay. And
they're like, how is this?
They had all of his billing they figured out who was buying it, and they had all of his billing information, so they called him and they asked, and he was like, yeah, I'm a lawyer. I don't have time to grind for it, but I don't mind paying a little bit of money to have someone else grind for it for me.
Yeah.
Right. And like that's existed since EverQuest. By the way, that was not against TOS and EverQuest, because they hadn't considered that anyone would do that.
There's a difference too between, and there's so many, opens up like 19 cans of esoteric worms, but like there's something in certain ways more, so long as it's not taken into like a gambling situation or anything like that, there is something that is just like, these things could work if people could just do small bespoke things, like that one lawyer for a one sword being like, hey, I'll pay someone $50 to grind for this sword.
Yeah.
Like, but as opposed to, here's a marketplace from the company to buy that sword for $50, because there's still, you know what I mean? I
can't hear you over the sound of Throne and Liberty doing exactly that, only with really scummy tax practices.
Yeah. Okay, this is interesting from Gold. Treasure Hunter is unfortunately one of those things that keeps some skill training realistic and not boring, especially agility. Man alive, leveling agility is rough without.
And I think that based on what I've seen of their thing, they're aware of the ways that some things will need to be rebalanced, or there will need to be not monetary compensation, but like the systems will need a countervailing force to compensate for the vacuum of power created by removing it, right? Like, so 100% the game will need to change as a result of this, right? But this is a way to do that removes an element of microtransaction that players have a negative sentiment overall towards, have a net negative sentiment towards.
If there's one thing, and I don't know many things, but if there's one thing I have constantly heard about RuneScape in the community, is the constant back and forth is very, very good. And this is something that just seems... This is just something that seems like a win for everybody. I wonder how much money the company would be set to lose by not doing this. It can't be that much if they're their business can't be in jeopardy if they're doing this thing.
Jagex is not in jeopardy. Jagex is again, they get to fly under the radar and just keep, like, don't mess with RuneScape. Like, they learned that when they tried to do RuneScape 3. Just don't mess with RuneScape. Just leave OSRs running forever, and you will, like, it's an infinite money factory. You don't have to do literally anything other than keep it running. It's fine, right? So, yeah. But this is definitely the first time I've heard of something like this on a scale this large in the industry, and so I'm very excited to see how this ends up playing out. I'm very interested to see how high the vote total goes.
There's something I liked in WoW. I never used it because every expansion I've never gotten back into WoW, right? Like since I became clean after Pandaria. But like with something I've always liked in MMOs, if they're trying to get you back on board, is when you buy the expansion, you get a level boost to whatever the level is to start the expansion if you want it, right? Like that always feels fine, I guess, because you're already spending. I mean, it's like part of it to be able to play the game right from the start. Yeah, I don't even know. Like, wow, I couldn't even fathom trying to play through from when I got off WoW to now. It would be mind-numbing.
Yeah.
Right, the dragon once more, literally.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about doing some sort of.
We were talking about doing like a hardcore, or no, we were talking about looking at it once the new UI or once the new add-on list stuff dropped.
Yes, right? Because that's something that I'm very interested in. And back in the day, Scott, EC artist Scott DeWitt, was really into WoW. I don't know if he still is or not. But he was trying to get us to do like an EC sort of guild type thing, which would be very fun if we could pull it off with everybody. But I don't know. I feel like when that drops, there'll be some content around that, because I do miss exploring what it's doing, and this is the first time in a while where I've been like, this could be interesting.
We already have one healer slot covered.
There you go.
All right. Next up, let's talk about another game launch. This one of Arc Raiders. So Arc Raiders is a brand new extraction shooter that came out over the weekend, and it did amazing, actually. It did like incredible.
So happy to hear this.
Yeah, incredible numbers. It had really big numbers in its recent playtest, but this was its official launch day. It had a peak concurrent of, I'm actually going to check. I've got an article here from IGN, but I want to see where it actually is on SteamDB right now. Yeah, so its all-time peak over the weekend was 354,836, and right now it is a Monday morning, okay? There are 203,529 players on. Now, a large number of those are probably in Europe, but it's still work hours in most of Europe, so there's either people playing hooky or playing before, or this is all in Asia, which is possible, but would be a little... I don't know how weird that is, actually, for Steam's demographic, but a bunch of people got on over the weekend, and it's like 88% positive on reviews. So this is kind of cool, because extraction shooters are a thing that not incredibly common, and a lot of them recently have had issues. Tarkov had a lot of pushback as it exited early access. Dark and Darker had its whole problem era, right, with the lawsuit, and then like I tried to play Dark and Darker to see what the hype was about, and it blue screened my computer, like just a bunch of stuff. And Arc Raiders just having what appears to my eye to be a largely unambiguously good launch seems a sign for this genre of game that is gaining in popularity.
Folks are bringing up the AI in this game, which I wasn't sort of aware of. There is AI voice in it.
Yes.
For call outs and things, not whatever the story stuff is. I'm trying to dig through it a little bit. I haven't
they have responded to it. By the way, this is not a like you should play or you should not play Arc Raiders. This is a phenomena. This tipped all the charts this weekend. So,
and especially in the week that or in the surroundings of Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty Black Ops 7, like
correct. And it crushed both of those. So, and that sort of also serves as a mini sort of sentiment analysis for do people care, right? And like, I'm not saying you should or should not care. Let me be clear. I'm saying that this is sort of indicative that once again, we're kind of in the minority on whether or not things like having an AI disclaimer, things like having a, de novo really matter to us.
I think there definitely should be it should be like a pack of cigarettes.
Right. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And like, it just crushed everything. Cause this just has easy. I think a lot more people are willing to deal with easy anti-cheat, even though it is kernel level, because it doesn't launch on boot and it does fight with other stuff, but it's easy to quit.
Yeah.
Easy, as opposed to like some of the other ones that are like, haha, you have to have this on from the moment you turn your computer on to the moment you turn your computer off. We have full control of your computer so you can play our video game.
So stepping away from the whether or not based on whatever people feel about these games, why is this having a moment surrounded by these other games? These other like behemoths. Obviously the gameplay is probably good, right? Like it's probably the loop is good.
They also spent a bunch of money on, I believe, on streamer advertising during the, like they definitely did the thing where they got the people who are super invested in this game. So like I saw Cone playing it all weekend. I saw Shroud playing it all weekend. I saw XQC playing it. Like, they got all the big names in streaming to do it, and that's obviously not enough to tip the needle entirely, but it is a way that you get a lot of people to play your game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So.
Yeah, I just find it interesting that this was able to find its large niche in the middle of these kaiju.
Correct.
Of the industry.
Yeah. And again, that's despite having an AI disclaimer, despite having easy anti-cheat, all of these things, which normally would hamper a game's success.
Yeah.
It's apparently not having that effect. Right. And that's weird, right? That it is just blowing up like this. Now, someone did bring up that this may be really big in Russia. I really wish I could get a player map.
Interesting.
Russia does have like a very big soft spot for like Dota and PvP games. There's a big
and the loop of this one is different, right? Like, because people were saying they could tell instantly when Battlefield people came over because they'd instantly shoot, but there's like,
this one has a lot more
civilians and other characters and things in it that like make it a bit more of a. I have not played it yet, but it's not just shoot anything that moves, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think the interesting idea of like it's okay to have the battle royale instinct of fighting is bad for everyone involved, right? Like in battle royales, you really shouldn't be fighting unless you have a decisive advantage and you're sure you can win, because otherwise you're burning resources on a gamble, and you're usually better off waiting until you have a decisive advantage to fight. And so here, people are doing like the friendly check thing and like using in-game comms to be like, hey, no, we're good. We're not gonna, everybody, back away slowly. We're fine, kind of thing, which is always an interesting part of extraction shooters. So yeah, it's weird. It's interesting. I definitely did not expect this to blow up this big this weekend. Like it was the top of most of the Steam or most of the Twitch stuff that I was watching. There was someone playing Arc Raiders, and it was a big deal on Twitch, which I was not expecting at all. Maybe my read on the everything is all off, but that was my thoughts on it.
I'm trying to find, actually, this is weird. Arc Raiders is not coming up for me on Steam.
Interesting. Came up for me.
Super strange. There we go. I found it. I want to see what the disclaimer actually is.
I've got it. The full disclaimer, so we're all on the same page, is during the development process, we may use procedural and AI-based tools to assist with content creation. In such cases, the final product reflects the creativity and expression of our own development team, which is to say they used some amount of generative AI, and we don't know how much, and we don't know where.
So there's a PC Games article, PC Games an article that says a dev that's saying Arc Raiders dev in no way used generative AI whatsoever for its visuals, but here's what it did and why it has to enclose it on Steam. And so basically they're saying Arc Raiders no way uses generative AI. And it was the Assure's design director Virgil Watkins during an interview with him ahead of the game's launch. We use something called machine learning or reinforcement learning, and that's to do with the locomotion for our larger drones with multiple legs, but there's no generative content whatsoever.
Okay, great. This is okay. This is another case where the buzzwords are killing stuff. Do you know what machine learning is, Matt?
Roughly, but not like. I know that it is not generative AI. It's not
Correct.
Scraping and doing nonsense.
So
it's not scraping everything for the nonsense it creates.
Correct. It's an optimization essentially strategy, or you can use it analytically, but it essentially involves running a simulation over and over again and choosing the most effective one of many simulations to run hundreds of thousands or millions of times to generate an optimal outcome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a significant difference between it is in no way generative AI. It does not do the learn set thing. It does not involve copyright infringement. It's been around for years, and one of my biggest beefs with the current wave of generative AI Drek is that it has sort of co-opted a thing that has good uses and doesn't have the overwhelming majority of the problems that generative AI has. So again, I
just added that PC Games an article there. There's also a link in that. It'll be in the show notes. There's also a link in that article, which I'm going to go back and read later when we're not live on air. Basically, that lets you go to the full interview from this guy. Yeah. And they keep saying in this article, as it is not contributed to any of their like visuals or anything like that. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Next up on our list. An update on a previous story.
I was proud of this one.
It was very good. The Nintendo Pocket Pair lawsuit continues on unabated. However, you may recall that as part of that lawsuit and part of that process, Nintendo applied for several patents last year. Including patent JP 2024-031879.
This one that we're talking about today is in Japan.
Yes, correct. It is not one of the ones that is directly underpinning the Pal World lawsuit, but it is one of the ones that was filed in the same batch. It is a patent that regards. Oh God, hold on a sec. I'm gonna make sure that I've got which one it is. The implementation of mechanics for aiming and throwing items to capture battle creatures like those used in Arceus. And this one got rejected for prior art, essentially.
Yeah, because like Arc does what it's talking about, and a couple other things do it.
They pointed at Arc, Monster Hunter, and funnily enough, Pokemon Go.
Amazing.
To say that, no, this is not the first time that this has happened. So this doesn't mean that their lawsuit against Pocket Pair is dead.
Oh God, no.
It just means that there is now some question about whether or not they will be granted the rest of the patents that were filed in this tranche of patents.
And we're actually going to have written by a patent lawyer and one of Jeff's friends. We're going to have I think it's like 19 minutes long or something, an episode specifically on patent law and what Nintendo did with 2 patents coming out in months from now. Or maybe it's a month from Saturday, actually. Yeah. But that's going to be specifically dealing with patent number 2,403,397. And also, what was the other one? Patent number 12,409,387, which is the 2 that came before that both started in Japan and then got to the U.S. and passed through the U.S. Patent Office incredibly quickly and with such little pushback that most patent lawyers and litigators had their necks snapped so quick over to be like, what the what? So there's some very interesting stuff there. This is a different one that is in Japan right now, and it's the first one out of these batches of this reach that Nintendo and the Pokemon Company are trying to do that has been outright rejected. Now, the interesting thing about patent law is what they get to do now is just be like, okay, and go back and change the patent and try again. And because there's deep pockets in these corporations, they can do that almost infinitely. Though it is, to be clear, a slow and expensive process.
Yep.
This is not something that, like, you can't really slap these. I mean, you can, but the slap is the slow as molasses and as expensive as the GDP of a small country. That's so, like, it's it's crazy.
Yep. I don't really have anything else to say on that. I just wanted to make sure that we got that in there as an update, which is good because we have ads starting in 15 seconds here on Twitch. So we're going to do some fake ads for things you can't buy while Twitch gets real things for ads you can buy. And then we'll continue on with the rest of our stories.
Yeah. Also, hello, tourist.
Hello.
Hello.
What'd you say? Hello.
Oh, no, I said hello. Well, that's close enough. Come inside and meet the missus. If anyone understands what we're talking about, you're my favorite. Okay, Will, do you want to go first this time?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Hi, everyone. Will from Extra Credits here. Are you confused about the time that the stream started? Are you also confused about the time that it is? Consider a world without daylight savings time. That's right. We can just don't do that. Just stop it. Like, I understand that it has a purpose and, like, it had a purpose, but, like, don't. It messes everything up for, like, several weeks out of the year, and I'm not convinced that it has a benefit. So, like, maybe just stop doing it. Just don't. Just, like, decide, pick one, and then stick with it, and then stop doing this flippy-floppy thing. No, I don't know.
I think that was great. I completely agree in principle, but, Will, I feel like where there's money to be made, you kind of need the opposite direction. Hey, everybody, Matt from Extra Credits here. Would you like to what if daylight savings time, right, happened, but like more of it? What if time truly meant nothing and you couldn't schedule an entire thing? Well, then let me tell you about my product today, which is essentially every day's daylight savings time. What does that do for you and your productivity, you may be asking? What a great question. Here's what it does. You essentially will never have a responsibility again because no one will be able to schedule your time accurately, and then therefore you kind of get to do whatever you want whenever you want it. Do you want to spill coffee in your keyboard at 9 p.m.? It won't matter because you won't even know when 9 p.m. is.
Yo, I like this one.
Ready? Oh, daylight wasting time.
Yeah.
I like this. We move clock every day. Scary.
Yeah. Okay, I got one.
Ooh, hold on real quick. Tourist, we do not have plans to do a board game live design. However, the last episode of Animated Extra Credits, which you haven't watched, which is how to design anything from scratch, gives some really good advice on essentially what James did with his card game, Cyberpunk Legends. And it's not to design the best possible game you ever could, but how to design and actually make the best possible game that you can at your current juncture. It's actually really, really excellent in that regard.
And if you want to see more live content talking about game design in general, normally that's me and Jeff on Thursdays. There isn't one this week, but there is one most weeks.
Yeah.
Where we dive a little bit deeper into a crunchy design topic.
Do you have anything on board game stuff coming up or no?
We might. I don't know. We were talking about doing one on Riftbound, but that is going to lead to...
Riftbound is dope.
So I haven't gotten to play it. I think the biggest thing that Riftbound is doing is eliminating, like, the way they've chosen to do resource management is fascinating.
It's awesome. I've played
it is
3 rounds of it, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't have anywhere to play it near me, so I haven't gotten any, and there's no digital client yet. When there's a digital client, we'll talk. But I think it is a fascinating like thing, so we might do something on that soon. Okay, cool.
And
great.
actually, popping to that point, sorry, Will, I know you got one more. The EC episode we're talking about brings up that exactly. Like, why did James make this card game? A lot of different reasons. That was one of them, you know, like just the moment, like the resources he had and the knowledge base he had at the time.
Right. When you build a digital card or board game, you often will prototype with physical stuff. So you just get to prototype and then polish it, and that's the game, right?
Yeah.
It's a whole extra step that you don't have to worry about. And you don't need a programmer, which is also really useful because, like, they're not to say that it's not great to work with programmers, but, like, the fewer people you need on the team, the easier it is to get started.
Yeah.
Right? So,
you all, Jeff knows one of the Riftbound folks. We ran into him at Gen Con.
We've talked. We might be pulling.
That'd be great.
And doing stuff.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, speaking of MMO news, a brief Final Fantasy XIV update. Okay, so Matt, imagine a world where you had to dress for the job that you had, not the job that you wanted, kind of. Where, now...
I mean, that's just like the world, isn't it?
Right. That's a boring world. We want to live in a better world. So... Final Fantasy XIV is unlocking all glamour. So it used to be that you could only glam an item if the item level of the glamour was lower than or equal to the item level of the thing you were overriding. So you couldn't pretend to be wearing higher level gear when you were actually wearing lower level gear. Couldn't do that. And it had to be for the job that you were using, right? So you can't wear like tank armor on a healer, but now you can because they've removed all of those restrictions, and that's the really cool thing. The Final Fantasy XIV community is celebrating wildly. Many people have been using crime tools to do this for a really long time, and
crime tools,
and they've announced that they're just gonna do it completely. Now, I'm gonna say something that some people will be unhappy with. And some people will be incredulous over. I kind of wish they would at some point just move to the WoW transmog system, but they're not gonna. So this is a good step.
How is this different now? Because this feels very similar.
So, okay, so in the WoW transmog system, you unlock a transmog, it's on your account, you can put it on at any time, right?
Yes.
Here, gear is piece by piece assigned a model of a different piece of gear. And if you want to use a piece of gear as a glamour, as a piece of transmog, you have to put it in you have to have it, and it's an item. It's either an item in your inventory, it's an item.
Oh, you have to be carrying it.
Well, you don't have to carry it. There's a storage item for it called the Glamour Dresser, but that's only in some parts of the game and has a limited capacity. So it's not as robust as the transmog system. Also, every time they've tried to change the Glamour Dresser, they've had to undo it because it's load-bearing spaghetti code back from when the game was saved in 2.0, and every time they try and move it or add more of them, it crashes servers. So there are some problems. This is a very good step, though, in letting people, do different things. So this, in this case, is someone playing a tank wearing healer robes, which is
That's
cool.
why I picked it.
Now, there's some pushback, which I think is hilarious. There are some people saying that the job identity will be threatened by this. I believe those people are forgetting that there is currently job agnostic gear, which you can wear at any time with any job, including but not limited to an elephant costume, a frog costume, or a squirrel costume, a swimsuit, or a mad scientist outfit. Or,
those all sound like jobs to me.
Right.
Like the swimsuit's job would be beach.
Right, correct. But any job could have job beach while doing like any level of content. Like you could just glamour over all of your gear and just do it like in a Speedo. Like you could just fight like the boss. You could fight God at the end of existence wearing only a Speedo. And like, according to the game as it currently stands, that's fine.
I mean, I guess you wouldn't have to hide everything from God anyway. But right. I would imagine that combat, you would want more protection than... Though, I will say, inflatable frog costumes very good for fighting fascism at this point. So maybe I need to check my biases.
Chat, when are we gonna go run through Garlemald with everyone in frog outfits? Hit me up. But that's already been a thing for a really long time. And so this is just a really great tool for like showing that they're continuing to iterate on things that have been in the game for so long. This is a like 2.0 era chain like thing, right? This was like fundamentally built into the game when the game relaunched, and they're changing it, which is a really good sign that they're continuing to iterate on a game that has as unstable a code base as this one has and is as old as this one is. And so I'm really happy about that. And I think it's a good thing. And the community in general is pretty happy.
Yeah, it seems like a good change. I don't know, like let people look how they want to look with stuff that they've found. And
yep, absolutely. Cool. Matt, you are far better positioned than I to talk about the cultural significance of this next one. I don't.
Simpsons has come to Fortnite, much like everything will, including you. I'm sorry / you're welcome. There will be you, the Fortnite crossover at some point. I'm literally speaking to everyone. This is a vacuum of IP, and I have no doubt that there will be a way to Fortniteify yourself in the near future. In a laundry list of things coming to the IP slurry that is Fortnite, The Simpsons is here. Now, I would first like to point out the amazing announcement trailer, a launch trailer that they did in the style of The Simpsons intro, but in Fortnite. It is incredibly well done. It feels like an actual lovingly crafted thing. I also want to call out some art direction stuff because two of the main characters of the show, Bart and Lisa, are children. Now, should they have guns and be running around? No, but that ship has sailed on Fortnite long ago. I'm talking more about like they're not like tiny running around. They're in mech suits, which is a pretty clever workaround. And apparently you run through Springfield and you can go through the Simpsons house, and like there's a whole thing. I am not as an elder millennial, I am not the most ardent Simpsons fan. I like the Simpsons very much, but I have friends that like live and breathe this stuff and like will tell me episode numbers of jokes. Like that's the level of Gen Xer or elder millennial that I engage with. So I don't have the like any sort of like this is the wrong phrase for it, but like purity test for the Simpsons of like, oh, they shouldn't be in Fortnite or whatever. It's the same one I have with Superman or Batman running around with guns. Like these characters don't make sense with guns, but that again, Fortnite and the people who buy this stuff don't seem to care. What I appreciate in these crossovers is sort of taking not just the characters, but actually doing the world. Like, I was disappointed in the K-pop Demon Hunters crossover because it was literally just the girls, ramen backpacks, and a weird kind of, it felt like sort of half-assed like horde mode with like demons, right? It would have been cool if like it was set in like that version of South Korea and you could go to the stadium and you had to put on a concert, like, you know, that, like, it'd be neat to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Here it feels like they're turning the island literally into the Simpsons.
Yeah. I also feel like there is something to be said for the amount of time that this has probably been cooking versus the amount of time that they left K-pop Demon Hunters to cook. Because
I know the real reasons. Yeah. I'm saying this is the kind of thing that like because it feels like people who were involved in, let's be clear, a very, very blatant cash grab also gave a crap.
Yeah.
And smash and grab is correct. Maggie with a gun is appropriate.
Yeah, that seems correct. You're just correct there.
Yeah, I'm always fascinated by my own internal yuck meter when it comes to Fortnite crossovers.
Yeah.
And this one, I was just like, neat. Like, I'm not gonna buy it or engage with it in any way. I was like, oh, cool. Like, this will scratch an itch for a lot of people. I think the way that they've adapted the Simpsons art style into Fortnite is also very good, with this sort of like, if anyone knows the actual terminology, it's not just cell shading. It's like, there's another
animated style.
Yeah. I don't know. I appreciate it that this exists and that time was taken to get it right. And that to me is the herald of what is essentially a good crossover. Does that take away all the bad nonsense crossovers? No, but this puts this up there sort of in the Ariana Grande camp, or, you know, beyond the skins of things, right? Like when there's like full events, and I appreciate that. So I was glad. I don't know. I was happy to see it. I like that.
Is it worse or better than Magic crossovers?
Ooh,
I would say that this is more weirdly tonally consistent than a lot of the Magic crossovers have been.
Fortnite has always been, not always, but for the majority of its time, has always been an unskinned world. Like, yes, Fortnite has lore. Yes, there are characters, but
the
they
lore
have been
is like intentionally silly.
And they have been so ground down at this point that, like, yeah, Magic had a bespoke world and dimensions and planeswalkers and things. And while there was dimension hopping, which would allow any of these things to happen narratively, the tone of Magic versus the tone of Fortnite
exactly so
basically makes the dissonance easier to handle in Fortnite than Magic. Now, that's from a narrative perspective. Let's look at it from a mechanics perspective. I think Magic wins, and it's better in Magic than it is Fortnite. Again, Batman shouldn't run around with AK-47. Superman does not need whatever, a pickaxe or whatever Superman uses to do all of the, maybe he punches, I have no idea. But like, and the Simpsons aren't running around like just throwing grenades normally. Whereas in Magic, they take elements, be it Avatar, Spider-Man, Final Fantasy, and they take the mechanics of Magic and to the best of their ability with the time that they are allotted, make those mechanics work for whatever character, ability, location, etc. from those IP, and make it, at least try to make it, and when it's done correctly, feel like those things. Yes. Where Fortnite, literally, other than the skin or maybe a different weapon or two, like the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet or something, essentially you are just skinning your character to run around and shoot and build things.
Right. And I think,
even if that's not what that character does.
And I think there's positives and negatives to both of them. But I think the fact that we're talking about both of those in the same breath is sort of a sign that those two are sort of like, I would say, the poster children for the ubiquity of crossovers right now.
Yeah.
That like if it's not a Fortnite crossover, it's a Magic crossover. But yeah. Shall we move on?
Oh, wait, hold on. This is a great question from Dreer. So this is for the dads, Gen Alpha, who are our generation plays this game. Honest question, as I don't get the appeal. That is a amazing use case you have just put down. If let's pretend for a moment that I am not in the world of gaming and that I had a kid. So my life went a drastically different direction than we are right now.
Yeah.
If my, 12 or 13-year-old or whoever is playing Fortnite and I walked in and saw like a blast of Simpsons stuff on there, that might be a way to get me interested in doing that and buying in from the corporate side. They make more money. For the family side, maybe that is something that like, oh, now you're playing this game with your kids.
Yep.
Right. Like this, I think that's a big pull because Alpha doesn't give a crap about the Simpsons. I don't believe.
I think Futurama would hit Alpha more,
yeah.
But even then, like that more is not a lot before anyone's like, oh my God, Gen Alpha doesn't do Fortnite. You're so out of touch. No. Or doesn't do Futurama. Futurama would be more, not a lot, but more for Gen Alpha. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Also, this adults play Fortnite with the kids. Simpsons still airing, which means it must still be watched enough so that they think it's profitable enough to keep making it. So there must be some popularity. This Simpsons could also be. It could be like a double crossover thing too, right? Like the Simpsons is something that you could also watch and enjoy probably with your teenager or young, or not super young kid, but like it's silly enough where they get it, but there's adult things that you'd get.
Have they said if it's going to be double-sided? Is there going to be like a Fortnite episode of Simpsons?
I do not know. I bet you there is not.
Yeah.
But maybe there is one.
That would be weird. That feels more like a South Park move than a Simpsons move.
Yeah.
Like South Park would totally do a Fortnite episode.
They probably have.
Though for reasons regarding the world outside, I believe the South Park schedule is chock-a-block full of things to talk about and make fun of for the next like 3 years, give or take. So they might do a Fortnite episode, but
So I think actually
there's a Fortnite.
There's a lot of videos about how good this crossover is. I think the episode that we're talking about is actually in Fortnite.
That'd do it. Okay, great. Is this
it's
like
called the Fortnite Simpsons special, full episode something? Again, I'll dig into this a little bit.
Wait, hold on.
Like,
is it like a message from Emperor Palpatine? Like,
I don't know.
Okay, great.
At the end of this, and I love this, there was a Fortnite couch gag. Arlha says here at the end of the video, they all, at the end, if you're not familiar, at the end of the intro of every Simpsons, they all run to the couch to like watch TV together, and there's always a change of the gag at the end of the Simpsons, and or the intro. And here it's all of them running to the couch, but the ring is closing.
Yep.
And like everyone gets knocked out except Homer and Bart, and then Bart kicks Homer out of the ring, and then he's the last one, and he laughs.
Yep.
And like that to me says they understood the assignment. And since there is no turning back from the IP slurry that we are in, I will take this kind of implementation every day over lazy slop that's just sort of a, hey, did you understand that Skeletor is in Call of Duty?
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Also, Bull, you want me to buy Fortnite skins? That's how you get me to buy Fortnite skins.
The whole squad is the Golden Girls. Absolutely, 100%. I didn't know anything about the Golden Girls, and I would drop in as a Golden Girl with Matt. Yeah. No question, 100%. All right, next up, in tonal shifts. So,
wait, should we do a palate cleanser? Should we do? Okay. I don't know.
So
no, this would be Bart writing on the blackboard. I will not make deals with regimes with questionable human rights activities.
Yeah, 100%. So the IOC has backed out of their 12-year deal with
1 year into their 12-year deal.
1 year into their 12-year deal with Saudi Arabia. To have Saudi Arabia host the Olympic Esports in Riyadh. This is a weird story. So let's back up a bit. Saudi Arabia has been doing esports washing for a hot second and has wanted to do some amount of like international esports games before. They had them in 2004. They had them in 2024. They had them in 2025. And in both cases, there were people who declined to participate because they didn't feel safe going to Saudi Arabia. Fair. To be clear, that's not to say that the U.S. is exactly squeaky clean on this problem either right now.
Yeah. That's not what we're talking about, but you're correct.
Yeah. So the Olympics has dabbled in the idea of including esports. So there would be like summer, winter esports. I don't really get the Olympics drive on this. I think it's to reach the youth
Oh, it is 1,000%. And they need to classical sporting events need to essentially fight for the attention of younger people. Games and social media are what kids do now. There's a reason one of my buddies works for a phenomenal show, even though I'm not a big football fan, works for Slime Time, which is the Nickelodeon sort of NFL. The NFL does like highlights of games for kids, and they make it, I think that they again, kind of like the Simpsons Fortnite crossover. I think like they do an excellent job with young adult programming and packaging what football is for that generation.
Yeah.
To get, and then it's the on-ramp because then they're familiar with the game, and they can, as they age through, they'll go just to the regular programming. Because if they don't do that, that's not going to happen. Yeah, right? It's just not.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to point out that we had these two comments back to back in Twitch.
All right, let's go.
One, who dared put politics in my video games?
Right, great.
And then followed immediately with, what's this? Games in my politics? Preposterous.
Exactly.
No notes. Exactly.
Preposterone all the way down.
Inside you, there are two wolves. They look like this.
I also like Ryan's comment about what this would be. You play indoor or cold video games in the winter and beach games in the summer. I agree.
Yeah, right. 100%. And Mario Tennis is a summer game, right?
Yeah.
Just play Mario Tennis. So,
and then almost watchable as, 12, half dozen, that's the other.
Unsure on that one. The upshot is that they will. Here's the IOC statement. The IOC, for its part, will develop a new approach to the Olympic esports games and pursue a new partnership model. This approach will be a chance to better fit the Olympic esports games to the long-term ambitions of the Olympics movement and to spread the opportunities presented by the Olympic esports games more widely, with the objective of having the inaugural games as soon as possible.
So this to me, and this is interesting. One of the main reasons why, hosting something like that in Riyadh would be difficult, and why many esports players put up a stink about various events there, etc., is that a lot of people who are in esports don't fall into the model of type of person that feels necessarily safe and or like something terrible wouldn't happen to them in that space, right? Like a lot of people and again, this is how do I put this? This is probably a group of people that is at least outwardly more diverse than your classical, traditional Olympic sports crowd. I think that's a fair analogy. Maybe I'm mincing some words there. So seeing what, if you're a commission trying to get people to play your games, you have to look at where the talent pool is. And they probably signed this deal not really thinking about it because the Olympics probably didn't fully understand esports as well as they thought they did.
No, that's definitely a big how do you do, fellow youths.
Yeah. And now after being a year in, they might be like, oh, yeah, someone just said like, oh, they're doing this because of this or losing money. I think it actually has a lot to do with like where their talent feels comfortable performing, which again does translate to money, right? Like.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, and both and also Saudi Arabia has also said like they're going to keep moving in a direction to try to do their own esports thing.
Yeah,
so,
they've had ambitions of doing the World Esports Championship Cup thing for a really long time. Yeah. They did host chess this summer. Magnus Carlsen won. Everyone was shocked.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But I think I am less okay. Here's what I am gonna say. I am less interested in the angle of this where it's simply not going to be in Saudi Arabia anymore. Like that was kind of like okay, that's their idea. I guess I don't really care. What I am interested in is what the better solution is, right? I'm very interested in looking in the positive direction. Like they could have said anything that was like, hey, we're doing something different than the thing that we plan to do esports broadly. And I would be more interested in that, I think, is the angle for me, is that there is a large amount, like the world of esports is very large and there's a lot of possibilities. And it's very interesting to see the IOC acknowledge it and say, hey, we need the thing that we were doing isn't going to work. We're going to try a new direction. I'm just interested in what the new direction is at this point. I also want to know like what what the categories are. Like, there's a lot going on here that I'm not 100% sure on now that it's going to be disentangled from the way that the Saudi Arabian World Cup was going to be formatted. Like, there's a bunch of like weird formats and everything else. Also, chess is in the Esports World Cup. Weird.
Yeah. Again, this is all boxes. This is all framing. Like, basically, if chess is going to make money, then chess is an esport.
Yeah, no, that's
not
true.
to say that you can't play chess on the computer. You absolutely can. But
also, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the esport we all want to see. The 40-meter nest toss. Correct.
Don't we have a short about?
Yeah.
It was a Tales from Twitch. It was the console Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Here, I want to. RD says something else interesting. I'm of the opinion the way to get people into sports is to get kids playing sports. Baseball has this problem too. Part of kids getting into sports is making sports not dominated by a culture of toxic baseball dads and hyper-competitive helicopter parents. I would have much more. I'd be much more into sports as a kid if I could do it more casually. This is probably more sports opinion than the crowd is used to. No, and actually, here's the other thing. So, while video games and esports are flashier, right, and probably can get a younger person's attention faster if they're already interested in computers and television and consoles and things, I think it's also a faster way to have that more more casual engagement with something that is it can be intrinsically competitive, but you have your crew and your group, and it's not as rigid as a sport is. And that's not to say that I don't think traditional sports have a value. I think they have a ton of value. I think they do an incredible job teaching sociability and teamwork and like at their best, right? And to your point, RD, yeah, that was one of the reasons I didn't get into sports. I love this. Will be this is going a lot. This will be the oldest thing I say all day. When I was younger, I was really good at football. I also hated playing football and engaging in the more structured version of football. Like, if there was a world, like, again, going into these alternate timelines, like if there wasn't that level of structural toxicity, I don't know what it is, because it works for some people and it doesn't work for others. But like, I could see a world where like video games were far more welcoming because I could do them at my own pace and there wasn't a sort of pressure. And I understand that in team sports, there has to be a certain amount of pressure and you can't do them at your own pace. But that also makes it ripe for elements that don't work for everybody. And it's really complicated. But it's an interesting point. I think in the future for getting young, and side note, this is my last sort of rant on this, but I find it incredibly interesting. There is a difference between, let's say, getting kids into football and getting kids into the NFL. Not into it, but engaging with the NFL. Yeah. There's some crossover, but we should remember that at the core, no matter what group of whether it's the Olympics, whether it's the NBA, the Major League Baseball, the NFL, the soccer, whatever. What's the soccer group?
I don't remember. I don't know.
We know this.
We went over at the beginning of the show how I'm bioluminescently pale and could be confused with a vampire.
My point is that I think it's very important to differentiate the game that you can play and love and the organization that is the corporate spearhead of making money off that game.
Yes. Which is why I think that the best game the best sport for everyone to play is Ultimate
FIFA.
Frisbee.
Yeah. I think
genuine.
Ultimate Frisbee's great.
Genuine.
I think
it's a lot of fun. It's no contact, and there isn't a giant governing organization trying to make a ton of money off it. Boom, problem solved. Play pickup Ultimate Frisbee with your friends in the park. Do it. You won't, cowards.
Play disc golf. Disc golf is dope. Play dodgeball.
But don't train the way Patches O'Houlihan would train you. It's not. You get brain injury that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, this is a fascinating story, and actually, I'm glad. I really like the sort of turns we went with it, because we are not a sports show, but intrinsically, sports are games.
Yes.
Like, it's just played differently.
Yep. Cool. All right. everybody, maybe put on your taking off caps. I don't know. Amazon Games is going to be no more, is in the process of vanishing.
Being
like
no more.
Yeah, like it's in the process of not feeling so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah.
Which has some broad impacts, but is kind of, I'm not surprised. Okay, so first off, Matt, are you surprised that Amazon Games is folding?
No.
I don't think anyone is surprised that at some point in the near-ish future, Amazon Games would fold, right? They did not put out a lot of games that a lot of people would consider top tier. They're probably their best one is the New World. I just noticed that you changed it to say Old World. Good job.
Welcome.
And they, by their own admission, did not understand the assignment. There's been some LinkedIn posts. I don't know if you've seen these floating around where they're like, yeah, we wanted to take on Steam. We thought we would win by being bigger. My brother and Gabe, and that's not how that works.
Exactly. But this is we have so many facets to talk about with this story. I'm very excited to sort of dive into it in the next 25 minutes. I just realized how long we're going.
That's why I'm moving this forward.
Yeah. But the essentially the cool, like, okay, in business, normally that works.
Right.
So I don't even fault them for being closed-minded into thinking that that's the case. Oh, there's a bespoke online place where people buy stuff. Well, we're the biggest place where people buy stuff online. So surely we can just throw money and time at the problem and it will go away. And I'm sure it wasn't that simple, but probably from the top level it was. So, and to sort of dive into this pool and not understand, you know, it's the classic sci-fi trope of like, oh, there's a species, we've got to clear off this planet. Oh, they don't understand what's going on, but it's Avatar, right? So like, and let's swing something around, and this is not going. Believe me, this is not a positivity thing here, but Amazon Games did provide a lot of space for jobs in this space. Whether or not those people were being used efficiently or fairly or in contracts that were clear, I have no idea. Right. But it is sad because now I think they're going to be, let's see. Is Amazon as a total dropping 14,000 people, or is this just their games division? I'm trying to find the actual numbers.
I think they're in total dropping 14,000, and part of that is the entire games division, because it's not just it's not just New World and continued development on New World that's going under. They're also cutting the Lord of the Rings MMO that they were working on. And they're also, I believe there was a Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Yeah. That there was a Tomb Raider game that they were cutting.
Yeah. I never played New World. On a personal level, I didn't like the sort of the aesthetic of it.
Yep.
I do understand that a lot of people liked the game and it played well and people enjoyed it for an MMO experience.
Yeah.
And that's always sad. And again, right now it's not gone. They basically said, and they're still saying, I think you can still spend money on it, but they're being clear, like it's going to be sunset.
Yeah, it's sunsetting in 2026. There will be no future major content updates, and they actually, I don't know if I put this in the show notes. Did I remember to put this in the show notes? There is the developers have actually hidden a note. Let me see if I can find this. In the game, for like, because they had a feeling that the writing was on the wall at some point. So that's kind of like a cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Barry says, very short time I worked at New World's never going to compete with the big boys, but could have been niche if Amazon wasn't Amazon. Yeah.
I think there was a space in the world for New World, right?
Sure. And a lot of people are saying like all this money could be used towards indie games, etc. And that's very true. I won't even begin to try to theorize what could make a competitive gaming studio release like a thing that wants to both make games and compete with Steam. I don't know. Obviously, being huge and throwing money at the problem doesn't do it. There's something like, my initial thing is like, yeah, why not just like essentially be the patron of a bunch of independent games, give them funding, have them throw like, you know, produced by whatever Amazon Studios, but like don't touch them, like, and then make money that way. It's funny because that seems like a good way to make a decent amount of money, but not all the money. And all these groups that are this big are interested in is making all of the money.
See, but here's the thing. They can't make all the money. Like, that's not on the table. So I feel like the problem is that they've been so poisoned by the idea that they must make all the money. They don't realize that that's like a non-starter, right?
But
especially
Will, in reality, I 1,000% agree with you, but you have to think like a corpo. Yeah. If they ever admit that they can't do it, the entire house of cards of their entire business model falls apart. No, in their eyes, they can do it. They just haven't done it yet. Yeah. I truly believe this. The second that a group of CEOs starts being like, oh man, maybe we can't do this, and their whole thing is just built on freaking vibes, like when the vibe shifts, you're toast. Now, that's not flipping this. Steam is not that. Steam is built on actual, and again, Steam has problems. I'm not just being like, all hail Steam. And just because a service right now is run by people who I think is doing a good job does not mean that service one day will not be run by people I do not think is doing a good job. And it's bad to just have one bastion of hope. They are a company. They are not the Rebel Alliance.
Right. Yeah, correct.
But like, Steam worked and did a thing and became niche and became a juggernaut in its space because it started in that space and it understood that space, and overall it has gotten that space somewhat more correct than anyone else. Yep. It's earned that. Steam also has made and because of that, they don't collapse when they make active choices not to make all of the money. They make far more than they need, and they've sort of capped it, but that's where they're coming from. Whereas something like an Amazon, the only reason it became an Amazon is because it never stopped, never stopping. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
So like, yeah, of course this failed.
Yeah, right. Like, it was never, like, success was never on the table here. And some people in chat have correctly pointed out that there's, this does fit Amazon's general MO of like propping up big projects to lose money, and then writing it as a tax write-off and then dumping it when it becomes too unprofitable. Spoilers, a bunch of you are watching this on one of those losses right now. Twitch is one of those projects for Amazon. Twitch has never been revenue positive. It is absurdly expensive to run the amount of streaming that Twitch runs on the regular.
I'll make a bold statement that I can't back up. The only reason Twitch still exists is because Amazon believes that they can turn it into some sort of cash cow someday.
Yep.
And make all the money and kill YouTube and do a whole bunch of things.
Well, except they keep ceding ground to YouTube.
They do. No, again, I'm not saying that they can. They believe they can. And the second that they say that they can't, it starts all collapsing.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking about like the actual company or the monetary value of it, but like the structure of how it operates.
Right. It's the don't you think they look tired of it all if you're a Who
sure,
fan,
yeah.
right? Like it's the moment that you admit that the strategy is fallible, right? That it is not
producer
unbound.
Brings up it took almost 10 years for YouTube to make a single drop of profit. Yeah, absolutely. Twitch, I wonder. I mean, they're not on a road to profitability. This is the technological miracle that this show is coming to you on Twitch and YouTube, of course, but like and of course Nebula. Hello Nebula, we love you. Thank you so much for subscribing. You're the best. The fact that this show exists and we can be in an animated kitchenette together, even though we are miles apart, and then broadcast this to the entire world, essentially on a whim, is insane and expensive. And not just for us to do it, but literally anyone with the right amount of bandwidth and hardware.
Yeah.
Like, to handle that is a Herculean feat of technology and finance. And I don't believe that I believe Twitch believes it can do it.
Right. But I don't think
if we're going back to the game side of things and Amazon Games folding, I feel like Amazon Games was something that was also a kindred spirit to the Twitch side of Amazon's business model. And this probably does not bode well for Twitch.
I agree. Yeah.
I got sad.
Yeah. A bit.
So we've been yammering.
Yeah.
Chat, both Brad and Janet, YouTube and Twitch right now, who's live and with us. How do you feel overall about Amazon Games closing? And obviously feel free to dunk, but also like, I'd love more in-depth than the dunks, like more than F's in chat. I want to know, like, did you engage with any product? Do you think it was more positive or negative? Were there positives? Like that sort of thing.
I'm gonna do a will-powered summary of some of the stuff I've seen in chat. I saw a bunch of people saying they could not name a single game besides New World that Amazon was involved in. I'll remind you all that they tried to make a hero shooter that bombed so hard they had to unrelease it. They did that too.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who were who enjoyed New World to some extent, who are sad about the loss of the potential Lord of the Rings game. I think, I think there's a lot of general negative sentiment towards like Amazon. Like it's sort of a Rip Bozo moment, I think, for some people. Yeah.
Scriffy, now their version of Game Pass for free?
Question mark?
Yeah. Aiden, could you I'm curious about that.
I like this one. Choosing an MMO as its flagship? Yes. I think they completely failed to understand the assignment on that.
I think there was a lot of people in that room that probably were excited about World of Warcraft and were thinking about it more about it in its heyday. Like,
right, but it is another indication of like, you have no idea how expensive it is to develop and run an MMO versus any number of other games which would have been a better flagship title. I think they just didn't want to fight Fortnite.
I think, you know what's funny? I don't want to give Netflix props, but I'm going to do it. How Netflix inserted itself into the film industry is how you do it. You make all, like, you fund like 2 or 3 initially, like either prestige shows or eventually films, and then you start inserting yourself into the establishment. So for instance, Netflix owns the Paris Theater in Manhattan. It's an older, very nice one screen movie theater right by the edge of the park, right by Central Park. And they bought that specifically so they could essentially put movies that they produced from well-known filmmakers in it, so it had a theatrical run, so it could be considered for the Oscars. They did that so that they could get through the Oscars rule set to have Netflix films be nominated. I went and just saw Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, which is phenomenal there. It comes out on Netflix, I think, on the 7th or the 11th. Please check that out. It is awesome. Slightly different than the book as well. I don't agree with everything that they did, but it is by far one of the best Guillermo del Toro films ever.
Which is saying a lot.
Yeah, but what Netflix did was found the rule set, figured out what they were good at, throwing money at it and finding loopholes and getting in there. And now they are, even though, like, don't get me wrong, this also comes with a ton of bloat. See Electric State. I mean, don't see it. That movie is awful. But you can look at the spend on Electric State and see why everything is wrong there.
Yep.
But like, they're still able to do things like Roma. They're still able, to do Glass Onion. They're still, this is all because they played the game correctly. Amazon, again, they should have not done an MMO, really focused on a large scale, maybe single player or light multiplayer flagship title that they could throw money at, but that was sort of simple enough to like get through the door in a way and not maintain forever. What you want is what is essentially like a AA darling to get you through that door, to get talk at the Game Awards, to get talk at all of these things, breakfast talk shows. And then you can move on and do the different things.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. They went with an MMO, which is not only an intrinsically difficult property to make and maintain, and for all intents and purposes, they kind of did it.
Yeah,
but the problem is they didn't come into, they didn't think about how the MMO space is probably a lot different than when the people who greenlit this might have played MMOs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'm looking forward to going through, and I'm sorry I ranted again. I'm looking forward to going through these comments later.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for typing in. You all went hard, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, but overall, I think we're going to see a lot of devs looking for work, and I think that's the other one. I think that's another common sentiment that chat's expressing is, man, it sucks for all the people who thought that by working for a really big company with a lot of money, they would have some kind of job security to build the kinds of things that they got into the industry to make, and then Amazon rug pulled them, and that turbo sucks. Like,
Yeah, I agree with that. And actually, that reminds me of something. I've been playing the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. And by playing, I also mean just watching the documentaries of how Mortal Kombat was made back in 1992 on that thing. Very in-depth, very good. But something that I really enjoyed was Ed Boon, John Tobias, and two other guys essentially were working at Bally Midway. And they were working on Smash TV and a couple other games, etc. And then they just decided, because they were passionate about it, that they wanted to make a fighting game kind of like Street Fighter, but using the screen capture technology that they were using in these other games. And the corporate culture there was literally, and again, it's smaller. This is why smaller works. And again, the 90s is a different time, but these was a small group of people that were passionate about something, and a company gave them enough money to play, and they also got out of the way. Like in a lot of these interviews, they're saying they popped in and were like, how you guys doing? You good? Great. Okay, bye. Because it wasn't like their major thing. Amazon could have done that with the game studio. Games could not have been their major thing. They could have, if they ever had the mentality to do this, not just throw infinite money at the problem. They could have hired a bunch of indie folks to do things, or smaller companies, etc., and just sort of like checked in on them and became patrons of them. And you could have had multiple you'd be diversifying what would hit. Because could you imagine if they did, I don't know, 200 separate projects that they just fund and like they vet it and they do whatever? Easily 5 of those would probably be something that would break containment. And then you have 5 things that Amazon made, air quotes, that is in their roster, and you could sort of like catapult up. But no, they had to do the big dumb thing, as not as fast as they could, but like the thing that back in 2010 might have made all the money.
Yeah.
You know? Yep. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So that's the end of Amazon. F's in
that's
chat.
The end of Amazon, everybody.
End of Amazon gaming, anyway.
Games.
Yeah. F's in chat were appropriate. I'm sorry to the people who are gonna. I think the other group of people that I feel really bad for is the people who are big on New World, because I don't think I've ever seen sadder videos than people in the last moments of their MMO existing.
Yeah.
Like, those are heartbreaking to me, right? Like, 14 will keep going as long as Square Enix exists because 11 is still going. So like I'm feeling a little insulated from like that possibility, but like the empathy that I have for those people who have put so much time and energy into the world and the friendships and the standing and the everything, and to just have it all is kind of sad, right? So that's the other group that I really feel bad for. But, all right.
Let's do this quick last
I was going to say our last story real quick, because Matt has a heart out, is about Minecraft. The good news, everyone, is that Minecraft has announced that they will be removing all obfuscation in the Java edition. So what that means is that previously the code in Java was obfuscated to prevent reverse engineering, and people did it anyway because mods. And Mojang was like, hey, we realize now this is kind of silly, so we're going to undo it. And they're not undoing it all at once, because that would mean that all the current mods stop working. So what they're doing is they're going to run parallel branches, one with obfuscated code and one with non-obfuscated code, through the next snapshot series. And then the first snapshot after the next update will be the first one that is all unobfuscated code.
Cool.
Which I think is really good. They say explicitly that they're going to make it clearer and easier and quicker to make and improve mods for Java, which is very interesting because if we cast our minds back to when Microsoft bought Mojang, they wanted to kill the Java branch, and they didn't, largely because there's no point, because the modding community would just keep updating it.
I think Minecraft in general, and this is from a company perspective, not the game perspective, but it is all tied together, is an incredible example of a large company coming and buying something and not getting their grubby little hands all over it so much that it poisons the well that they bought.
They had some problem. They did have some growing pains.
It was not instant.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, it's still here.
Yes.
And it's still popular, and they're doing things like this because they realize that there are paths forward to making as much money as possible and also doing things that people like.
Yep. Two quick responses. One, in other words, we no longer want to waste time and money trying to prevent it. So community, you win, here you go. Yes, that's
Two
correct.
things can be true at once.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other one, I wanted to answer this. Neo asked, does this mean there are going to be a bunch of Minecraft knockoffs in the next year or two? No. Because there's no point. Because Minecraft is not technically sophisticated. Minecraft is ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Right? Minecraft, a reminder, Minecraft runs in Java. Minecraft is not a very, the Java edition runs in Java. It is not a technically sophisticated game by most current standards. The mods are, but the core game is essentially just a glorified mod loader and mod platform at this point. People can and have tried to release voxel-based survival games. That doesn't matter. Everyone has Minecraft, so why there's no market for a knockoff, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion. Yeah. So yeah. I'm just super excited. I'm super excited about this. And that, dear friends, will bring us to the end of our stories for today. Matt, did you manage to get all your coffee cleaned up?
We're going to take some keys out later and figure it out.
I hope you've got a key puller.
I do.
Excellent. Those are very useful.
Well, listen, everybody, thank you so much for joining us for Games for Breakfast this morning. It's been a lovely show. We went a lot longer on a lot of more stories than I thought we would, which is always fun, which means we were engaged with it, which is great. Will, you're going to continue playing something right now on Twitch, yes?
Yes, I will be here live on Twitch playing Tactics, Final Fantasy Tactics, here in a little bit.
Nice. Well, I guess the only thing that's left to do is end our show in our traditional way that, again, is the same every time we end the show. We do this to foster a sense of community and make sure that everyone can also join in and saying goodbye to everyone and kicking us off into our week starting a great way. You all know the drill, so please, everybody, raise your coffee cups and say thank you for joining us for Games for Breakfast, and then just pour it on the keyboard. Just pour it on the, that's not gonna come out.